There are stories that connect us to ourselves and to each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. Now, exclusively on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, your hosts, AJ and Natalie.
Hello, Wanderers. It is me, AJ, and if you haven't figured it out by now,
Natalie.
I have a co-host.
Happy Wednesday.
And this is Natalie. This divine being of light, beauty, and wonder. Magnificence. Should we go on and on?
Oh, sure. Didn't someone say, are you guys just going to love each other on it? Yes, we are.
That was my dad. My dad said, oh, man, am I going to have to listen to a whole show of you guys loving each other?
Maybe.
Maybe, perhaps. And that's okay.
Right. It's the way we roll.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Hello, everyone. I see you all piling in the chat room. Thank you, listeners, for being here with us tonight. We love and appreciate your support so much.
It makes the show.
I mean, we are here for you after all.
Right.
Kind of selfishly a little for ourselves, but mostly for you.
Yeah. Yes.
If you guys are following us live, we are over on KGRA Digital Broadcasting's YouTube and Facebook pages. It's there where you can hang out with other wanderers and join in the conversation. There's a chat room on each platform. There's also one on kgradb.com. And wherever you are, have fun meeting other wanderers. They're all good people.
Chatting about. I've got some people that I know that are listening in. They say, I'll be on there. I'll be watching you live.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Good.
It's fun.
It is fun.
Did a little PSA. I'm like, service announcement. I've got the show and my classes. So
good. Yes. I mean, the more the merrier.
The more the merrier.
We're here to help, inspire, uplift, motivate, support, love, bring awareness.
All the things.
All the beautiful things that assist you in this human journey.
And learn ourselves. Boy, I'm learning a lot this
every week. We learn so much. It is a thing.
Sometimes more than the brain can handle. It's like, whoa, okay, that was a lot.
Yeah, we're going to digest this over the next few days.
Right.
It's good. Speaking of amazing wanderers, our Whisper Wednesdays voicemail is starting to get some action.
That's good.
Yes, I can't wait to share with all of you.
Right.
So if you don't know, if you haven't heard about the Whisper Wednesdays voicemail, this is a new thing that we brought this year when I brought on Natalie as the co-host, because we wanted to have a safe place for someone, anyone, all of you, to share. And if you felt like sharing with the audience, we could share on air as well. So we do have some that are private and we won't share those, but we are starting to compile some of them to share with you as those messages, we feel that they need to be shared depending on the energy of that week.
Right.
If you wanted to leave your own voicemail, the number to do so is 801-686-8214. And the messages are anything you want to share. So if you found a great book, a quote, a song, a memory, an experience, just needed a safe place to land to share a secret or a feeling, anything and everything, you're welcome to give us a call where we can support you, send you healing vibes, send you loving vibes, send you good energy, whatever that looks like that you need in that time. So, or want to share with us.
Look forward to many messages.
Yeah.
On that.
I love when our wanderers interact with us. So every week when you're in the chat room, it's really fun to watch you guys have conversations behind the scenes. And a lot of times they're relating to the topic that we have on air at that time. And some of them are just about your week, but it's so good to see the interaction and have you guys helping and supporting each other in that way also. Thanks for showing up for yourselves.
That's right. And us.
It's so good. So last week we had a guest, Mark Fiorentino, and he wrote a book, Master of Reality.
That's right.
Master of Reality. And very scientific.
Very scientific.
I learned so much, however, and I love the correlations that he had between the science world and the spiritual world,
That's right.
the paranormal world.
In fact, it was almost, he went much into the spirituality or near-death experiences to then further expand in the scientific realm.
Yeah.
It's almost like the spirituality explains the nature of the universe, and then science catches up with explaining it through mathematical or those different kind of concepts.
And it always blows my mind how when I've met scientists or those with more of a scientific mind are always non-believers in spirituality or aspects thereof because they have to have the proof, right? They have to see it. So it's neat when you find someone who does both, who believes in both.
Yeah, it is fun.
He was a great guest. I had a lot of fun learning from him. I mean, some of it definitely was like over my head. I was like, wait, what? But I learned a lot. So it was really neat to have him and have the aspects from both points of view. What was your favorite part?
So it's interesting to listen to people. In my personal experience and the way that I think that I absorb information, I'll listen to people. And I found it interesting that when he was talking about learning from near-death experiences or people that had, and finding the threads that were common. And then he used that would help him understand the pattern. And we had a previous guest that had talked about the pattern.
The pattern, Kevin Jeffers. He was just a few weeks back.
So that was one of the things that I thought was interesting. And there's, I definitely resonate with the concept of listening to like an overarching concept or a group of people. Like he was talking about the near-death experiences, listening to near-death experiences and finding commonalities, and then that helping inform his scientific explorations. And I resonate with that. I do that like in a sociological way with this overarching, I hear lots and lots and lots of people stories, human stories. And so you can learn a lot by listening.
Yes.
Paying attention, finding patterns, because the whole world is in patterns. You know, it's nature, evidence. There's so much evidence in just this reality that we experience if we learn how to sort through it.
Right. It is a school after all.
It is a school. The curriculum is now.
Boy, are we learning so much.
So much in this school.
That leads me to a wonderful topic. So Natalie and I meet every week and we're like, what is the energy sharing with us this week? And over the weekend you had watched Hunger Games.
I'm a little late to the party.
Yeah, you are. Okay, so one of my most favorite series ever. I love the Hunger Games series for a lot of reasons.
There's all kinds of reasons in that series.
Yeah, all kinds of goodness. But it's so relatable to what's going on in the world right now.
It is. Yes. So I was just, I was remarking on, that's fascinating. You watch the Capitol and the different experiences when you study, when you watch that series, and then there's the Capitol. And then there was the Grammys.
Yeah.
The other night.
So I didn't watch them, but
I did not either.
I don't participate in those reindeer games.
No.
However, you see little glimpses of them or whatever in the news on other social media platforms. And I was like, whoa, they're like not even hiding it from us anymore.
No.
They're not even trying to mute what is happening
out loud.
It is in our faces. It has been for, ever, but
right.
But now it's like like right here. It's in our face.
It's true.
It's so dark.
There is a lot of darkness out there.
It's coming up in so many ways, unfortunately. And y'all are aware of it. I know you are. Those listening, you guys know what's going on.
The light and the dark.
We are having a battle against good and evil.
That's right.
Literally. And we can talk about it all day, but how can we participate in raising the vibration and the light and bringing awareness to those who may be in the middle grounds to pick a side, right?
So I also, as you're saying that, remember from last week, that was what I asked Mark. I said, what can one individual do?
That's right.
And he talked about raising your vibration. Vibrationally, that's aligning, choosing. So, and we've had some within our own, our own friends group or within our own conversations, we talk about choosing. What side do you choose to work for, and making a conscious decision and understanding that.
Right.
And it's no judgment.
Yeah. I mean, just pick a side. There's no judgment from us by any means, but the one side is vibrating at a higher frequency.
I do find that the experience in the light is more positive, experiential. For me personally, it's like, no, that's my work is, and it feels better when I am vibrating at that higher frequency, and the things that I've improved, and letting go of the denser sort of things, and moving out of those frequencies. But it's a curriculum, it's a school, and there's a lot to learn as you go through. There's even vocabulary and different things like that. So sometimes people aren't really aware, or they get aware at different levels. You can be aware at the level that you are.
Right.
So that study and that depth, and listening to Soul Wanderings.
Listen to Soul Wanderings. There's your answer there.
That's right. We have these conversations. And so it's learn and grow. And so that's what we were talking about was that. So it's fascinating if we do it we talk about at one level, and there's those events like the Grammys. And it was interesting. I was watching these outfits or the clothes that people were wearing, and it's really not that far off.
See, I didn't watch into that detail. I was just watching. I glanced and I was like, "Oh, I'm not spending my time on this." I get it. I see you.
I think it was a Facebook sort of replay, and as they were and instead of just, it was not the way that they were doing. It wasn't just a video of actually what's happened. It was like a slow-mo as they were moving, and their outfits were, like one lady's dress was lots and lots of strands were coming off of her. So this slow motion thing. It's like,
it makes my stomach turn.
It's like,
it does. Like, ew.
I've never even been anywhere near that sort of energy or like red carpet sort of thing. So it's so foreign to me. I'm not a star. I mean, we're stars of this show. We don't have red carpet.
Is that what you call us? Okay.
We'll do our best.
We do what we do. You're definitely a star. Yes.
Oh, thanks.
I'm not saying that's not facts.
So tell me, what are the things why the Hunger Games is so powerful for you?
I don't know if it's so powerful per se. I loved the storyline because of the similarities that are really going on that I can see.
Yes.
In our human experience, right?
Definitely. Yep.
And it's interesting to me in that way because of that. The dynamics between the characters and how things are portrayed in a Hollywood movie.
You're right.
It's another one of those experiences that is right there in our face.
Yeah.
And we're looking at it as, oh, look at this new series. Look at this new movie. I like it because it's very realistic to me.
We do live in a surveillance state, and that's more and more and more apparent.
And I think that the things that are on there also that haven't happened are like little warnings and
Mhm.
getting us very comfortable what could possibly be coming for us.
Right.
And if you pay attention to any media, any film, any song, and I shouldn't say any, but most, we are getting messages sent to us all the time so that we get comfortable with the new normal that will be taking place,
Right.
in my opinion. So that when it happens, we're not going into mass chaos. So we're not going into panic and freaking out, but it's going to be comfortable for us because we've already seen it. We've seen it in the movies, we've heard it in a song. And so it won't be a panic to us. It's just going to be like a normal
Mm.
to a lot of people, where some of us are going to be like, okay, yeah, we know what's up and no, we're not participating.
Right. That, it's watching that series, even at this stage. So I didn't see it at all when it came out. And then I'm seeing it now and relating to from the 2023 perspective and everything that we've been through in the last 2 or 3 years specifically. And this watching it and saying, okay, so in so many ways, we're powerless against a lot of forces that are at play.
Right.
Yet we are deeply powerful on at just what we can do within our own individual framework. Maybe, and it can feel like, well, I'm not very powerful,
right.
but you can do what you can do from your role. And so Katniss had her particular role. Everybody had a different sort of role that they could do at. She worked at a bigger level than others.
Right. Right.
There was a powerful scene for me personally when she was faced with going into the hospital. And for people that haven't seen this, but there was part, she wasn't in the hospital herself. She was actually going to visit the hospital where there were wounded and people.
Yeah.
And she felt very powerless, except for when the people saw her, they were just filled with hope.
Yeah, they looked up to her in that way, like that she was going to be their savior in a way.
Or they just got empowered seeing her and knowing what she had gone through and her model of just never quitting.
Right.
Always fighting what she could fight. And that stuff is contagious. And there's part of that really resonated with me because there's often in my own personal work that I do professionally. So I work with grief and there's just waves after waves after waves of grief. And there's just new people being added into the ranks of grievers all the time. And I can sometimes feel a little overwhelmed if I felt like I had to save them.
Right.
But I know that me showing up and doing the work that I do, then they save themselves, which is what we can do.
Yeah.
So there was little things like that was very powerful. In fact, I just cried. I was like, oh, just hit
It is
me.
a very powerful scene. It really is. But also like just having hope can do so much for someone.
Right.
It's when we become hopeless and feel defeated and that it's going to take over, like our vibration literally will lower in those emotions.
Right.
And so those feelings are also real. They're also legit. Like
they are.
We are going to have those feelings and emotions, and understanding that they are a lower vibration, they still must be felt.
Right.
But there's empowerment that can take place after feeling those emotions and realizing that that's inside of us. We don't have to stay in that lower vibration. And by being aware of how we feel and working through those feelings, working through those emotions, we can shift that vibration. So it's not a hopeless experience to us. Like feel your feels, but also understand the power that's inside of you. Like you have the ability to change that for yourself. And by changing that, it's contagious, just like it was for Katniss, how she goes in there with all of this hope and compassion for the people. Like you can be that.
Right.
And that helps other people raise their vibration by your example.
It's true. So and to get, how do you do that? How do you change? And it's like you choose where to set up camp.
Yeah.
You're really choosing where to set up camp. We don't actively choose moment to moment what emotions that we feel, but we experience the emotions. When you understand that emotions are like weather, they're a moment to moment experience. And a lot of times people will, and it was just to be a little more specific, let's say grudges, like someone did something and you want to hold a grudge, and you have to continue to put logs on that fire, stoke that fire to hold that energy of that thing that someone did that was in the past.
Right.
And so when you actively choose to allow it, it's not even allowing it because things have happened. The past has happened.
Right.
Are we learning how to? So I'm going to drift into the nuggets. Are we ready for that? I feel myself drifting towards my nugget.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the nuggets that will go in towards break and short after break.
Yes,
Hit
it would do it then.
I need a drum set to hit it.
Sound effects.
Yeah, no, wrong kind of show, but it felt good in the moment.
Right, that's the way that we work. Learning to accept.
Natalie nuggets for the week are.
Oh, is that my cue?
That's your cue.
She's like, oh, that's the cue. Okay, live show. Right. This week. This is my nuggets for this week.
We are having a live show.
We are.
No edits. You get us how we are.
I really enjoy doing things live. It's fun. I don't think I would enjoy things if they were super edited. Okay, that was the wrong take. Try that again. And I have to say the same thing 5 times. It's like, oh, okay. I'd rather just flow through it.
3, let's go. And it's now break time. No, I'm just kidding.
It's coming up.
3 minutes of giggles.
So
really?
Which is powerful medicine. Oh. As things happen, well, let's see. How do I want to frame this? Okay. I saw this meme on Facebook, and the meme essentially said to move from expect to accept.
Expectation to
acceptance.
That's
right. And so things happen in life. They unfold in a particular way. There's a mystery to the universe. There's this almost like we're on a moving sidewalk. Like we have choices, and then sometimes we're like, but do we? Don't have choices. So there's this massively interactive tapestry of interplay between people, humans. And so when things happen, that you don't expect, or they do not things do not unfold like you expected. And then you're disappointed. And then you have a bunch of emotions. And a lot of times they can be those denser emotions that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So moving through those, when you move from expectations into acceptance of what has unfolded, peace does happen. Like more peace comes to your heart.
Yeah. The allowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The surrendering, the allowing.
So it's
very powerful.
Yeah. that life unfolded a particular way.
Right.
It then opens up a meaning making. So there's this concept of meaning making that says, how can I make meaning from difficult things that have happened in my life? Really awful things sometimes, or good things.
I have asked myself that question so many times in life.
Yeah. And it's really important if we're going to heal.
Right.
Or move through some things. And I anticipate that we'll, that's one of the beautiful things about this program is that, we talk about difficult things or learning from difficult things with guest after guest after guest. Generally, guests have had something very powerful happen to them.
Right.
To then pushes them into the work.
Right.
That they do throughout their life.
Right. We didn't end up here by accident.
No accident in that.
Never did I say, when I grow up, I'm going to work with people through trauma. That sounds like fun.
Right. So let me be traumatized so then I'll know and I can relate to them.
Yeah. Nope. That didn't happen. However, I'm so grateful that it did, because here I am.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you, trauma. High five. No,
I'll
kind
take
of.
that scar and I'll carry on.
Right. All right, everyone, we're going to have a word from our sponsors. And when we get back, we'll continue our wandering. Tonight, we are going to have an amazing guest in the second hour, Les Velez. He's the co-founder of the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
It's going to be
too.
good. Stay close, everyone. We'll be right back.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Are you looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling Birth of the Vampires in Romania. These small, esoteric getaways are limited and do fill fast. So, go to MysteriousAdventureTours.com and book your trip soon.
Are we alone in the universe? The most important question facing humanity is on the verge of being settled once and for all. The Mutual UFO Network has been at the forefront of this journey for nearly 50 years. Our members worldwide are dedicated to the research, documentation, and awareness that will shape the future of humanity. Won't you join us?
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Soul Wanderings with AJ and Natalie.
Yes. Welcome back.
Natalie. We were talking about
Expectations.
expectations and acceptance.
That's right.
And there was a comment. I was looking at the comments in the chat room during the break. There was a comment that said, yeah, or how to let go and move on.
Simply put,
Just let go and move on. Just get over it.
it actually becomes that simple when you learn how. But when I've in my own life been in places where I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
How do I let go? And I'm just like,
How do you let go?
shrug your shoulders.
I mean,
Atlas shrugged.
I've done that on an unhealthy level in my life several times. Like, just don't want to deal with it. So I'm not going to. But it always sneaks back. Knocks on my door. Hello, you want to look at me?
There's that curriculum. So it's like interesting you let go. And then, but then there's the curriculum or there's an underlying thing. It's still a mystery so often. But when I think I have it figured out, then it's like, oh, haha, there's a new level.
Yeah. There's a brand new level. Thank you.
Right. Or just let go. Yeah, sometimes when you've mastered or when you've at least practiced a particular skill set long enough, then it's easier to let go. I do find that in my work, I find a lot of people have this. So if we're just this moving from expectations to acceptance, and this concept of acceptance, expectations is its own thing. It's like noticing when you have expectations, anticipating. So I remember one profound conversation where it says, well, if I never had expectations, then things wouldn't happen or they would. I said, well, no, you can arrange for things to happen, set things up, and then monitor yourself for expectations that you anticipate something's going to unfold a particular way. That's noticing expectations. There's little things, common axioms that say expectations are a recipe for disappointment, which they can be.
Absolutely.
It's normal to when things don't go as you expect. I see this a lot when dealing with grievers that have gone through a death experience, someone dying and being frustrated that the doctors didn't do a particular thing or that kind of thing. That's the heavy, stressful times of life.
Right.
So they one death and then like selling a home, all those things are stressful events that happen in life. And that's some of the stuff I'm talking about right now. You have expectations that things can work out a particular way. They work out a different way. Then you are faced with, well, they worked out a different way. So a lot of times people get stuck saying, but it was wrong that it worked out different than this way that I think it should have worked. The should have, would have cycle that's literally like a little hamster wheel because it never changes what happened.
No, that's the thing. What's done is done.
Do you know how often people get stuck on that little spindle though? They will recycle and recycle and recycle that. Have you experienced that in your life?
I love that you just brought that up. Have I experienced that in my life? Well, Natalie.
Yeah.
Without calling anyone out. It is a thing people do. They get stuck in the cycle, right? And,
yes.
And I get it. I think there have been points in my life where I've done the same because I didn't know what I didn't know now.
Right.
And it took someone or several someones probably to like shake me like, hello, do you know what you're doing? And you sometimes don't even understand or have an awareness that that is something that you're doing.
Right.
Because people get stuck in their stories.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Right.
I think that's part of why, like I always used to use my trauma as a story.
Oh, I've done that as well in my life.
Like this happened to me. That's why I am this way. Right. Until I really started doing the work and had some moments of awareness come to me. Now I have a story. Absolutely. I've always had a story. Everyone has a story.
Right.
Their life is a story. And there's many chapters in those stories. But when you start using them as crutches for your bad behavior or bad choices or excuses to not show up for yourself or anyone else, that's when it's the thing. That's when it's an icky thing.
Right. It gets like quicksand or that sort of energy where you'd be like, well, I've justified that I acted a particular way or that I'm frustrated, that I'm upset now that it went through wrong.
Right.
All of that is just to say that's dense and sticky sort of energetically. It's kind of my intuition's like, it's like flypaper. It's a sticky trap.
It's like
That's a beautiful
flypaper.
analogy. Oh, it's like the fly's like, oh, I should not have flown towards that.
Right.
So it's sticky and dense.
Mm-hmm.
So as you learn or study or practice acceptance, it is what it is. Acceptance. It unrolled the way that it did. How in the world can I find meaning? How can I move from that to where I am now and move forward with how it's happened? How can I?
How can you move forward?
How can you move forward?
I think asking those questions is a
Mhm.
very great beginning step. Like, how
Yes.
do you move forward?
It's
Experiment with those questions and dig deeper. And once you ask a question, ask another question, then ask another question. And you do get more clarification. The more questions you ask, the deeper you go.
and listen. So
don't forget to listen. Yes,
ask,
that's
then
an
listen.
important step.
You may be surprised at how you'll just pick up a book and read something, or the right article, or Facebook will show you something, or Instagram. You'll just magically start getting these things where you don't
Mhm.
even ask this out loud. I don't even know how the technology works. I swear that it has gotten to mind reading sometimes,
Uh-huh.
but
Sometimes.
but or there'll be a song on the radio and there's lyrics, or someone will actually tell a story, or there will be. I find that it happens all the time. It's like this little miraculous, my life is talking to me out loud. Oh, those are my answers. I don't like that answer. So maybe it's a good one.
Pass. I am guilty.
Give me a
of
different
that.
answer.
Yeah, I'm not really good with that
That's
answer.
really my
Can you give me
answer?
another one, please?
I'm gonna phone a friend.
Yes.
When you phone a friend, okay, I'm going to call this friend because that friend will agree with me. Or I'm
Uh-huh.
going to call another friend that'll challenge me. No. I think I want. What do I want? Do I want, like, I'm taking a poll to see who will validate me in my victimhood, or who wants to pull me up outside of my victimhood? All of these things. It's the way life works.
It is the way life works. It is. And I find myself being hyper aware of, so I have a diagnosis.
Mhm.
And every day I'm having some kind of struggle. When people ask how I am, I have stopped saying, "Oh, I'm good," because that doesn't feel authentic. But
Mhm.
also I don't want to be like, "Well,
Let me tell you,
today was really challenging, and today sucked." I'm not even gonna
you are
lie.
such a warrior woman.
Thank you. I having MS sucks hard. I'm not even gonna lie.
Right.
And so I had some experiences today, and I was like, I've got to do this show because I want to do this show. So I've got to somehow pull myself together. I've got this. But when people, all day are asking normal stuff that I do, because I do a lot of things during the day. And when I'm
Right.
not showing up, everyone's like, "But what's wrong? What's wrong?"
Right.
Instead of me saying, "Well, this is what's happening," and having a story, I don't want to be disingenuous either, and I don't want to lie and say, "Oh, I'm just busy," but not being in the victimhood. So there's this fine line for me not complaining about what's going on,
Right.
but also honoring where I'm at,
Right.
and not having a story of why it's going on.
It's not simple, is it?
But I'm constantly working on it, because
Right.
also I don't want to purge this energy that I'm experiencing on other people when they just thought I would say I'm good and move on, right?
Right.
I don't want to be like, "Well, let me tell you the details of my day." I know there
was little pieces of hell, and then maybe getting out of that, and brightness happens.
Right. Yeah. And I know there are people who understand what I'm going through, and I can do that with, and they just love me anyway, and like you, and I appreciate that. But also I just want to have that awareness always. I don't want to purge on people about every little detail, because it's really not necessary.
Well,
It doesn't help me feel better, and it doesn't make them feel good either.
right. And I think that there's some wisdom in understanding and paying attention to whether or not you are humans do this all the time. We may get into our bitch and moan sessions where we are really like, is there's a difference between purging and doing it once or twice, and then, or maybe you're talking to like, 6 or 7 people and you're just rehashing that energy over and over and over again. It's healthy to be able to talk about it, but then there's also times where you are practicing different. When I watch you and I watch myself, I practice the things that work to get me through. I have a toolbox, and it includes some things that are spiritual, or a bunch of essential oils, or mental thought patterns for myself. All of those things, like having this ability to move through it with my toolkit and practice my tools. That's what one thing that I watch you, and talking is only one tool in a toolbox of moving through things. But talking can be kind of tricky because you can be just recycling the energy that you don't really like anyway. Through
It's
it.
true. Yeah.
But it's therapeutic when it's done well and with a good sounding board.
Well, thank you. That's a nice perspective. Tools. Then I have this bag of goodies.
That's right.
I don't take medication, so I do everything holistically. So I have all kinds of
things.
All kinds of goodies in there.
We were talking about keeping our immune system up to avoid being really sick. And I definitely have found a lot of ways to do that over this last 3 years has definitely been an education for me in immune system.
Yes, definitely. And I hope it has been for everybody. We actually have actually, like, it's a surprise. It's not really a surprise. We get questions all the time, but to pause, question from the chat room over on kgradb.com in the live chat. If you guys are hanging out with us, make sure you're hanging out there, or whatever platform you like, YouTube, Facebook. The question is, so what are reasonable expectations for those in our lives?
Wow, that's kind of like a general, and what are reasonable expectations?
Right.
Well, I'm just going to give that.
It's a question for either or both. I'll let you answer this one.
Just know that reasonable. See, that's just so words. It's really fascinating too. I would say anything maybe can be a reasonable expectation when you allow for life to unfold the way that it's going to unfold, because there's always some higher realm at play. So go ahead and have the expectations. It will unfold. Just control very loosely. Have a plan, a loose plan or something. And it does depend on what exactly that you're talking about. But if you have expectations, but you are in the flow of it and it goes some other way, how resilient are you? Do you bounce or do you break? Are you the tennis ball or the egg?
Ooh, do you bounce or do you break? There's a Natalie nugget. 2 in one night.
Woo! That's a good thing to think. Or am I bouncing or am I breaking?
Right. Expectations. Whew.
Yeah. Do you have what's reasonable expectations?
The work that I'm doing for myself is not to have any expectations. It's a big one. And that's something that I've been working on, especially heavily this year already. We're into the second week of February.
Right.
And I've had a big lesson on that. It's good. Like I love the awareness that these experiences have brought to me. And it just gives me an opportunity to really look at every experience or situation that I'm having on a deeper level.
Yeah. So we talk about, when we're dealing with expectations, there's maybe, there's lots of ways to talk about it, but expectations of maybe projects or plans or events, there's that, or expectations from people. I find that when you
Yeah.
lay expectations on people, they're bound to meet the lowest level.
So are there unfair expectations, and should we not have them?
I do find that there can be unfair expectations because in my studies of even like a person's astrology or human design, there you can have a base that a person be a particular way and it's not their natural way of being.
Mhm.
So then you can expect someone to be really quite against their nature.
Right.
So then it's unreasonable because it's just not what they naturally are to do, especially if someone is made up quite different than you. Even if we were just dealt with astrology, a Capricorn and a Gemini, they're quite different. They're like cardinal points. They're like, can be quite opposite from each
Mhm.
other.
Right.
So you wouldn't expect a Gemini to be like a Capricorn
Right.
because it just is unnatural. It's
Right.
basically unnatural.
Right. It's just so crazy how different we all really are.
Yes. And so do we appreciate the
Mhm.
differences or do we want a bunch of robots? And that way we'd be like, well, we go back to the Hunger Games where they want compliance, not differentiation. And
Mhm.
it's not the way that we're designed.
No.
Basically designed. We're all designed quite different.
Right. And it's really good to understand your design also.
Mm-hmm.
Like we should know ourselves better than anyone else, right?
Right.
But I'm learning about myself every day. Like, oh, surprise, who are you? Like, I didn't know this about myself.
Right. And there's that part that's like, oh, you mean I can lean into that thing that I've
Mhm.
been like fighting against throughout my life?
Right. Like, how does this all work?
Right.
And understanding yourself more on that level is just it's really pretty freaking cool, right?
And then when you discover that and you deeply discover yourself, and then you look at others and go, oh, you mean they would have their own function and they function different than me,
Mhm.
which is it is on the very root level. We all function quite differently from each other.
Mhm.
But we really, as humans, we're forward looking, forward thinking, which means that we can't see ourselves, but we really only understand the experience that we have
Right.
in our body. So we move through that way. And so we anticipate that others will come from that same framework because it makes it easier for us to understand them. But they even look at life differently. 8 billion perspectives on this planet, because even twins don't have the same perspective. Even if they grew up and were in the same crib, they were looking different directions all the time.
Right.
So that's what humans do, is we look. So learning to appreciate the differences and the nuances in humans.
Mhm.
And that's what I feel is often revealed through expectations when they don't show up like you expected them to.
Right.
Then you're like, well, can I be fluid with this, or am I going to have a control issue?
That smile, like, "Oop." You're so good, Natalie.
But if I don't control it, then it will not happen. It's like, oh, it'll happen.
Yeah, that control thing is a whole other conversation.
It'll be a future nugget, right?
That's a whole other conversation. So, but I want to move on before we go to our top of the hour break, because we're bringing on our guest the second hour.
Wow.
His name is Lester Velez, and he's the co-founder of the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support. And I think that's so amazing, right?
That's
that we
just
have
kind
a
of like right
support
up my
group.
alley. Support.
That we have a support group for these kind of experiences that are non-human.
Non-human. That will definitely affect someone deeply.
Right. I'm excited to get to know him better. Have you ever had any experiences of your own? Alien encounters, experiences, abductions?
No. I had this one weird weekend that was like up in the mountains, snowy mountains, like where really no one was, up in the mountains we were staying. And there was just sort of weird dreams and sort of weird energy. That's the closest thing I can say. But it's nothing like abduction or traumatic experience some people have had. How about you?
Oh, how about me? So I I am not sure. I obviously I've never been abducted. That would have been a thing that I would have been talking about, unless you call spirits in an NDE an abduction.
Well,
because I was taken away in that experience. No, I shouldn't make light of it, but it is kind of like
it's
curious,
sort of alien.
kind of wondering how it's all related. Right? Because there's
Right.
so many more questions than answers.
Right.
I can't say if I've had an experience. I had what I feel like could have been an experience, but maybe a remembrance of an experience. And it is quite interesting. Do you want me to share it? Like,
Well, I don't know.
I'm like, should I
It's
talk
like,
about it?
I don't know. What do you
It's
think?
so interesting.
It is so interesting.
I've shared it with Natalie, but I don't even know if it was like a remembering of something that really happened or if it really did happen. So,
I'm sure that that's a common theme, though, for people to go.
but nothing happened to me. I wasn't abducted. I just saw and had the experience and somewhat of a communication. So, the dream, we'll call it the dream. I was younger. I don't know, like 6th, 7th grade. I don't know. I was young. Excuse me. I had 2 friends spending the night at my house, and we were all sleeping on sleeping bags on the living room floor. And when you open the front door, the couch would be behind the door. Okay. And we were in front of the couch, our heads by the couch. The door opened, and my 2 girlfriends were asleep, one on each side of me. I was in the middle. That's an AJ sandwich. I like those.
It's lovely.
And so the being, which now as I'm older, looked a lot like a gray. It was pale skin, not green, not really gray, not really white, kind of sparkly, kind of shimmery, kind of olivey, but white or gray. I don't know how to explain it. This is just like the details I remember, and it sparkled. And not like glitter, like shimmer. That shaped
Like
head
an
that you see.
iridescent sort of.
Yeah, kind of. Not a lot of color, but hints of a color. Walked in, the door opens, and I look over, and these long, skinny fingers go across his face and mouth and nose and goes like this, like in a shh motion. Stepped over, went to the side of my friend to the right of me, stood there, took one step, which ended up going over me and my friend, and then took another step going over my other friend to the other side of her to a grandfather clock, which was not really in the room, but it was lit up like it was in a portal. So like if you see like movies and it has the big white opening to a portal of light and like sparks all around it, there's a grandfather clock in the middle of it. He opened the grandfather clock, took his long finger and moved the clock backwards, closed the door, and turned around, just like a half turn around. So he's looking down at me again. He did the motion again, but shook his head this time like
didn't happen or something like
something. And I'm just like in my sleeping bag, like, what is happening? But watching his every move. And I remember it so vividly. And I remember like I wasn't afraid. I didn't have a lot of fear, but I was uncomfortable. Like, what is this and what is happening? And then he took a step over my friend to the left and over me. So one big step, and then another step over my other friend to the right of me and to the door. And then he walked to the door and went to go close it. And as he went to go close it, he peeked around the door and looked at me and then closed the door and left.
Interesting.
And it was just such a vivid, like, experience. I'm not sure what it was. But I mean, my whole life I had been visited by shadow people.
Well, and that may be.
So it could be something.
Some sort of alien.
I don't know, but I didn't have anything like traumatic or scary like a lot of people have. And holy smokes, I've heard some stories. So we're going to take our break. And when we get back, we're going to have the opportunity to visit with our guest. And he'll be able to share with us all about those kinds of experiences, alien contact, and all of the dealings regarding that phenomena. And we'll do that when we get back. Stay close, everyone.
Here we go.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Are you looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling birth of the vampires in Romania. These small, esoteric getaways are limited and do fill fast. So, go to mysteriousAdventuretours.com and book your trip soon.
Are we alone in the universe? The most important question facing humanity is on the verge of being settled once and for all. The Mutual UFO Network has been at the forefront of this journey for nearly 50 years. Our members worldwide are dedicated to the research, documentation, and awareness that will shape the future of humanity. Won't you join us?
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soul Wanderings, hosted here on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. If you guys are curious about the show or any of the other amazing shows hosted on the platform, I invite you to go and visit kgradb.com. If you go over to the shows and host area over to Wednesday and scroll down to Soul Wanderings, you'll learn more about myself and Natalie, your host of the show. Also, at the top of the page, there is membership access options for you so that you can save up to 30% your annual or monthly subscription. Just click on that and you'll get my promo code automatically added to your cart. My promo code.
Your promo code.
It's ours.
It's ours now.
Still getting used to the co-host thing. After 6
I don't take
years,
it personal. I don't have expectations.
After 6 years. Oh, good. Good. No expectations. I love it.
Right.
But yeah, it's a great way for you to support the station and support the show. And we appreciate every little bit that we can receive from you. It's so good.
It is good.
It keeps us here and it keeps you able to learn more.
Entertained.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on because we have an entire hour to visit with this amazing guest tonight. We've already introduced you somewhat, but let's give it an official formal.
Let's do it.
So tonight we have our guest, Les Velez, and he's the co-founder of the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support, otherwise known as OPUS. And he's also the author of The Unknown Other and the Existential Proposition of Alien Contact. And he's previously served as an assistant state director for MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network in Northern California, and as an abduction specialist for MUFON International. Hello, and welcome to Soul Wanderings, Les.
Hey, good evening, and thank you, Natalie and AJ. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Great, good. I'm glad you're happy to be here. That helps.
It's a good start.
Yay!
Wander about your soul.
Yeah, we're really excited for this conversation. I'm sure you're familiar with KGRA.
Oh, yes.
I know you've had many interactions with different hosts and events and things like that. So this is your first time with us on Soul Wanderings. Really excited about it. We talk about all kinds of things, not just UFOs or aliens like a lot of the other show hosts do. So we're all about wandering and really getting to know you as an individual and learning about who you are and what you do and how you came into this experience you're having now. So,
well, one of the things you just said is the fact that you're not only interested in UFOs and aliens, but the issue is, or I shouldn't say the issue, the realization is that all of this is connected. So if you're talking about poltergeist activity, Kundalini awakening, anything else that you can possibly think of, and I heard a little bit about your experiences, AJ, while I was in the backstage, if you will. So these are the kind of things, shadow people. These are the kind of things that people talk about, that they are experiencing not only with the little grays coming through the wall or through the ceiling and interacting with people, but you have the shadow people. You have all kinds of effects that are going on. But as far as how I got involved with all of this, I was 11 years old and I was living in Connecticut at the time. And it was October evening, and I was coming back in the house, and I noticed over the tree line this object that was just sitting there, quiet, not making any sound whatsoever, just hovering there. And it was a long, oblong type of an object, and it slowly started to move away, and it scared the hell out of me. And and I ran in the house, and I tried to get my father to come out to see this thing. And by the time I convinced him to come out, it was gone. And he said, well, it was probably just a beacon of light reflecting off a cloud or something, and I didn't buy that at the time.
That's not what it looked like, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, soon thereafter, I went to the library and I decided, well, I'm going to start finding books on UFOs. And back in those days, the late 50s, George Adamski was the preeminent author at that time and talking about his experience with the Venusians. And so I really got into it. And I was really, super interested in trying to understand what this phenomena was. And of course, after a while, became an adolescent, and girls became a little bit more interesting than UFOs. And so
that's fair.
kind of forgot about the whole UFO thing, and went off to college, and became a member of the Army Reserve in the artillery branch, and soon thereafter got married and had a couple of kids, and eventually moved out to California in 1985. And I picked up the San Jose Mercury News, as it was called back in those days, and there was an article about Stanton Friedman that he was going to be coming to San Jose City College to talk about UFOs and the government cover-up. And so it was like somebody threw a switch, and it was like, oh my God, I got to go see this guy. And so I did. And I expected to see a handful of people at this event, and I was totally surprised by the fact that the auditorium was packed. There must have been like 300 people there. And he gave one of his inimitable lectures, showing all the redacted information that he had come across, talking about how the government was covering up all this information on UFOs. Well, I got so involved. On my way out, there was a table in the foyer that MUFON had there, and they were talking about the monthly journal that they had. And so, okay, I decided I'm going to get the journal. I became a member, started reading about all these cases and everything. And shortly thereafter, it was like, oh, this is not enough for me, And so found out that they had a field investigator course that you could take to become a field investigator. So I did. I took the course and passed the test, and soon thereafter started to go out on investigations with a more senior person. And as it turned out, almost without exception, the cases not only were sightings, but people talked about the fact that they had contact with non-human intelligences. And, in the early days, I was very much a nuts and bolts kind of guy. and I soon quickly became more interested now in the fact that these people were talking about having, interactions with these entities. And how could that possibly be? So, my window of believability was very narrow in that regard, but then it started to expand. And and that's when things really got interesting, because these people would ask me, did you know of other people having similar circumstances? And I said, yes, I do. And next thing I'm doing is I'm facilitating a support group in San Jose. And that's when I started to find out so many interesting things about the phenomena, because these people were, so interested in telling their stories, but to a group that was similar to them. And that's something that's so important, that people have the knowledge that they're not alone,
Right.
that these things are going on, not just with them, but with other people. And so, and that's such a calming influence for these people, because most people cannot talk to even family members or clergy or their fellow workers, or, and so where do you turn for these kind of things? And a lot of times these people had also gone to a psychologist or a psychiatrist to try to understand, am I going crazy? And then they find out that they're not crazy. So then what do you do?
Right.
What the hell do you do with this event in their lives? It's a fascinating journey that these people are on. And my way of thinking is that it's truly a spiritual journey, not a religious journey. It's a spiritual journey, that it's an awakening of what's going on with them. And the results of these journeys, in most cases, like 70 to 80%, are positive. And then you have, of course, the other remaining percentage that do turn out to be negative.
So is that what led you to create Opus, so that others had a place for support and validation for their experiences?
Well, thank you for that question, because one of the things that happened was that a reporter from the Monterey Coast Weekly paper had contacted MUFON, and he was doing an article about UFOs and contact and things of that nature. And MUFON headquarters gave him my name, and so he contacted me, and so we had a interesting afternoon chatting about that. And when the paper came out, it was my head about this big on the front page of this Coast Weekly paper, looking up in the sky. But But the article, he did a really good job explaining things and saying what, MUFON did and things of that nature. But there was also a woman in the article that was talked about. And she eventually contacted me and said, hey, I would really like to understand what's going on with my brain when I'm in contact with these off-earthly entities. And so when she said that, I was saying to myself, like, how could I possibly help this person?
Mhm.
And then she said she was working with an emergency room doctor down in Carmel, California. And that got my attention because I had a doctor friend, Dr. Eugene Lipson, who actually turned out to be the co-founder with me of Opus, that he was interested in contacting other doctors that were interested in the phenomena. So I called him up and I said, hey, why don't we go down there and talk to this lady and see what we could possibly do? So we did. One Saturday afternoon, we went down there and we walked into her house. And the first thing I noticed was on her wall there was a picture of her standing on the back of a craft, a large vessel. Okay, and it looked like it was in the Caribbean. So I asked her. I says, "Where is this?" She says, "Well, we're in the Caribbean." And I said, "What are you doing down there?" And she says, "Well, I'm helping these treasure hunters." And I said, "Well, how are you helping the treasure hunters?" Well, she said, "I'm in contact with the captain of the galleon that had gone down." And that started the afternoon off saying, wait a minute, hold on a second here.
Wait, what?
Okay, so you're in contact with the captain of the galleon that had gone down. And so we had this incredible afternoon with her, and she started to tell us things about herself that there was no possible way that she could. And the bottom line on all this, that after a near-death experience, she became very psychic and started to have all these connections that started to go on. And again, this is another thing that is tied in with all of this, psychic abilities, healing abilities that people come back with after an experience. I had the experience of, and 2 years ago now, I presented for an experiencer group at the MUFON Symposium in Las Vegas. And there was a gentleman and his wife in the audience, and it turned out to be, Robert Scala, the gentleman that was the major in charge of the missile base at Malmstrom Air Force Base, that when the UFO came over and shut everything down. And they came up to me afterwards and said, can we speak to you? And so took them back into the exhibit area where I had a table, and they started to tell me about their experience that they both had together.
Wow.
They had both been abducted. And when she came back, she had the ability to heal people. So now she's actually doing that, where she's healing people. And I've personally had an experience with a healer. One of the people in our support group, and I'll talk about what Opus offers as far as help. One of these people that has been in our support group became a healer themselves, and I had a back problem, and he's in Vancouver, and I'm here in Texas, and within 2 sessions, he cleared up my back situation. And so, and this is another thing that is just incredible. How could somebody that many hundreds of miles away be able to do something like that? And that's where you start talking about quantum physics. You start talking about so many different aspects of the phenomena that we just don't understand. Right. So anyway, that afternoon, after we finished with, her name was Carol Austin, by the way, who's unfortunately since passed away, we just said, how can we possibly help people like this? And that's, we went to a hamburger joint a little bit afterwards and decided to come up with some type of an organization. And in 1994, Opus was created, and we're officially a 501(c) nonprofit organization recognized by the IRS, which always cracks me up. That the
Imagine
IRS and
that.
the paranormal would be involved. But we've been trying to help people having paranormal experiences, and we don't just look at alien or UFO related things. We look at poltergeist activity. We look at angels, demons, various things like that, because they're all connected.
Yes.
They're totally connected, and a lot of people, talk about the fact that, they've had one type of experience, but then they've also had another type of experience, which may not seem connected, but it's happening. It's absolutely happening.
Right. We're not all intertwined as human beings. It actually extends quite further than that.
Beyond that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And
the more I learn about this, the more I'm just blown away on how intertwined everything really is, how connected we all are.
Truly, it absolutely is the case. And so, one of the things that Opus, or a number of things that Opus does, is that we have a online support group, a totally confidential online support group, where we have over 300 people from around the world that are in communication 24/7, talking about their experiences, asking questions. And then we also have a referral network of mental health practitioners, hypnotherapists, to help these people if they're looking for something like that. And the latest thing that we've developed is what we call our EST, the Experiencer Support Team, which are people that are extremely experienced with the phenomena, and do triage with these people to find out, how can we help you? What is it that you're looking for? And so that has proved to be a really wonderful factor for these people. And of course, we have the website, which you had up here earlier, opusnetwork.org, which not only has that information as far as support, but we have articles, and we have an interview series where actually I do interviews.
Oh, yeah, I saw the series.
And so I've interviewed Linda Howe, and Terry Lovelace, and Steve Bassett, and Melinda Leslie. By the way, Terry Lovelace, Melinda Leslie, and Linda Howe are on our advisory board, and along with Yvonne Smith, so we have a pretty good lineup of people that are very familiar with the topic, and we're if we don't have it on board, so to speak, the experience, we do connect with other organizations, that the Spiritual Emergence Network, for instance, and other organizations that have the experience and expertise, so we can guide those people to those organizations as well.
This is so important and so needed, and I am so happy that you have this organization. And there's ways that people can support your organization. If they go over to your website, scroll down to the bottom, you accept donations and supports that way. So we'll make sure everyone knows how to get there by the end of the show once again. But I love that you're doing this. It, like I said, because when you have experiences, you really do feel like you've got some psychological disorder of some kind, because it's not the norm, right? And it's not talked about as a normal thing in human experiences. People have always just shooed it away or thought that there's something mentally or emotionally wrong with you. So to have the support, the validation, it's just amazing that you decided to set this up and have the team that you do.
Well, thank you so much for that. And I think it's becoming more relevant as time goes on. Absolutely. Especially with the government, coming out now and saying, well, UAPs are for real, folks.
Oh, it's about time.
Yeah. So what's the next step? And I think the next step is that there's going to be some more understanding of the fact that now people are experiencing these types of things in a more significant way. And I know that the federal government, or the government, whatever you want to call it, is well informed on this topic. They've been
for
looking
sure.
at this for a long time.
Yeah.
And whether you talk about Kit Green or Gary Nolan from Stanford University, that they've been looking at these people and understanding that some of these people with the the psychic abilities, have more connections in the area of the caudate and putamen area, versus people that don't have that. And they don't have that capability to have psychic ability or telepathic capabilities. And then the latest thing I've heard about that is that these people find each other somehow.
Yeah.
And having relationships with each other. So I'm still waiting for mine to show up, but
Believe it, it will happen. What are some of the more common experiences that you're seeing come across, like when you hear about other people's experiences? What is there a common thread, or what do you feel like is happening more?
Yeah, well, we've done some research studies. Matter of fact, the first one we did was called the Omega-3 study, which was actually funded by MUFON. Going back to 2007, I had contacted the international director of MUFON and said, "Hey, you guys are missing the boat on working with abductees," because again, they were basically a nuts and bolts type of an organization. And so I started to get all the calls that were coming into MUFON redirected to me to help these people, because Opus was already set up to do that kind of thing. And so then they asked me to put together a team to look at this phenomenon and come up with a report, a study, and we did. And as I said, it was called the Omega-3 study, and I'm going to give you some of the details of it, okay, which are kind of interesting, I think. In general, abductees' experiences profile differently than do their comparison counterparts on a number of general psychological and specific neurological variables. Yet, there are remarkable similarities between the experiential group and the comparison group. It should be noted that in no case did experiencers or comparison group participants show any signs of mental illness or personality disorder. So there was no pathologies involved with these. These people were sane. Okay, so that takes out that part of it. We're not dealing with crazy people. Fantasy proneness is often talked about, does not appear to play a differentiating role between the experiential and the control groups. However, sensitivity to alternative realities and early recurrent paranormal or psi experiences seem to play a role in the abduction experience. Childhood conflict, psychosocial tension and abuse and trauma more than likely facilitated dissociative coping style in later life. How much a part dissociation plays in the abduction experience remains an open question, and which is interesting, because it seems that there's something that opens a person up because they're having those types of things happening. And it's not again a psychopathological dissociation, it's just a coping mechanism. Both experience with and interest in the abduction phenomena have impact on how one's body is perceived to function, how one views the world and one's purpose in it, and how one defines or redefines one's faith, tradition, and beliefs. In essence, both experience with and interest in contact seem to change one's sense of self and one's worldview. And that's a common thread that people, when they've had these experiences, come back and they talk about the fact that we need to be better stewards of the planet. We need to be better to one another. We need to be more loving. These are all wonderfully positive things that these people come back with in the majority of cases. Abductees' experiences believe there is a sentient, purposive alien intelligence at play in their lives and at work in the world. What the intelligence's goals are seem to be more beneficent than malevolent, more benign than malignant, which, and that's interesting because, you know, you have one camp that says, well, they're all bad. And then you have another camp that says they're all good. And so, you know, I think it's a mix. Just like we have here, we have good people on this planet and we got bad people on this planet. And the same thing is going on wherever, you know, whether it's extraterrestrial in nature, whether it's interdimensional in nature, is it time travelers, or is it our military, or is it all above, which I think it could be in anything that you can possibly think of.
Right.
So anyway, you know, we've really, oh, and one other thing that we found in this thing was that the brain generally and the temporal lobes and limbic system more particularly play a mediating role in the anomalous experiences such as abduction. This in no way implies that the abductions are all or only in the abductees' heads. So, and that's something that Gary Nolan and Kit Green have been looking at with regard to how the brain processes all of this. And so there's more work to be done in that regard. And but when these people come back with implants and marks on their bodies, something physical is going on, folks. And people say that, well, there's no evidence. Well, baloney.
Right.
I always find it's interesting when people say there's no evidence, and you're like, so exactly what would be evidence? You know, would actually be evidence then?
Right.
If marks on the body and all that isn't evidence.
Right. You know, these people are not doing this themselves. I mean, they're waking up with these things and you know, have no clue as to how that could possibly have happened. It's an incredible phenomena, and one that we're still, you know, just scratching the surface of. So it's something that we need to continue to look at. And the latest, the follow-on to the omega-3 study, we just finished the first phase of that, which is Opus is the only one involved with this one, where we actually went out to mental health practitioners that have worked with these people and came back with some interesting information. And one of the things that seems to be very common is that most of these people are dealing with grays. The majority of people are dealing with grays. And then the second thing that seems to be very common is the orbs. People talking about orbs. Then people are talking about interdimensionalities, energy people, entities, I should say. And the fourth thing is poltergeist activity. And, you know, as you talked about earlier before you came on here, shadow people. These things are just so incredible. And people are looking for help. And what they're looking for mainly is someone to listen to their story non-judgmentally and be able to then support them afterwards, whether if they have PTSD or things of that nature, to be able to handle that kind of a situation as well. So there's so many facets to this thing that you can't just, say A will fix this or B will fix that. It's like a combination of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so
a lot
forth
you
and
don't
so
know
on.
yet. Yes.
Yeah.
When someone has had an experience, is it something that they always remember, or how does that work? Like, do they just where I didn't know if I had an experience, but I had a dream, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, is that a normal thing, or is it something they specifically remember?
That's a great question. In fact, I have a little story about that. One of the support group meetings that I was facilitating, a person said to me, "I've seen you before." I said, "Really? Where, at a UFO conference?" "No, I saw you on board the craft." I said, "Really?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of blew it off. I just, because I had no conscious memory of anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably a year and a half later that a totally different person, it was a different group of people, and they said the same thing. I've seen you before. And I said, where? UFO? No, no, no. You were sitting on this bench naked on board the craft and you were freaking out, and they told me to go over to you to calm you down. So
Wow.
at that point, I decided to go get regressed to see if I could possibly find out anything. And I found out nothing along those lines, but I had multiple past lives. And this is something that a lot of the experiencers talk about when they're interacting with these entities, is that they talk about a reincarnation. That is like the universal mechanism that goes on. That is something that will continue to happen, and how we, as our souls, our energy, doesn't ever die. It just goes on and comes back in a different form or a different person or something else. And it was probably in maybe another year later that I talked to somebody about that experience, and they said, well, maybe they noticed something or had an experience where in a past life you had an experience like that, being on board a craft, which is totally possible because time dilation is another one of these crazy things that happen. They can bring you back before they took you.
That's just crazy to wrap your head around. Were all of your reincarnations as a human being?
What's that?
Were all of your reincarnations as a human being?
Yes. Yeah. I was a samurai. I was a Greek soldier. I was an Italian, a Spanish restaurant owner. and it was but most of it was military oriented. And of course I was in the military in this life as well. And
I find that interesting because that seems to happen.
Yeah.
Similarities.
Yeah, absolutely. So it becomes fascinating when you start putting all the little pieces together. And what my laytest theory on all of this is that we've all had an experience, whether we consciously remember it or not. I think that it's just part of the process that we go through in our daily lives. That whether you remember it or not, it's happened.
Mm-hmm. I've always wondered that because, especially with all of the many lives, how the chances are very high, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
We actually had Terry Lovelace on the show before, and he was one of the first people that I ever saw or heard of, and then saw the proof of an implant.
Implants, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about implants. What are they? What's that all about?
Well, one of the things that, you're probably familiar with the late Dr. Roger Lear, who did a lot of work with implants. And he had 17 patients that they actually extracted these implants. And some people talk that these are transmitting devices. Some of them talk about their tracking devices. But what he found is interesting, and I'll just read this real quick. Look, there's no inflammatory or rejection reaction by the body to these foreign objects. No visible portal of entry. Collections of specialized nerve endings surrounding the object. An outer coating of ceramic biological material, a metallic phase where inorganic metal becomes biological tissue, the emission of radio waves, which are deep space frequencies in the FM band. Now that right there tells you the fact that they're tracking you somehow, because that is being put out there. Electromagnetic fields in excess of 10 milligauss, composition of meteoric iron 66, rare earth metals such as U-236, a single isotope of uranium existing by itself, as well as such elements such as uridium, which is very rare and hard to find in the Earth's crust. non-terrestrial isotopic ratios indicating the involved elements do not come from Earth. And it goes on and on. And he really did a fantastic job of scientifically analyzing all these things. And so these are not objects that, Joe Blow down the street can,
Right.
implant you. They're pretty specialized.
What is the intention of them doing this other than tracking us? And
Well,
why would they want to do that anyway?
Well, one of the things I've heard recently is the fact that they're monitoring your bodily functions, pollution levels, and things of that nature. So if they're running experiments, following us, since they manipulated our DNA, if you believe that,
Right.
which is a common comment that's made. That they want to make sure that you're going to be around long enough that they can re-examine you, I guess.
Either that or it's that remote sensing unit.
Yeah.
Like humans are filtration. We filter the air, the
Yes.
biologics of this planet. So we would definitely be able to transmit that
Right.
information.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a combination of many things, probably.
So we're okay with ourselves being monitored through an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, but then we kind of get freaky about it being extraterrestrial if it's a different monitoring. So it's fascinating when we think about this
Absolutely.
On that practical level.
Mhm. It's just fascinating though, right?
So
Because we've been
fascinating.
brainwashed so long by the government that this is just not real and it's all in
Well,
our
they
head.
try to wash our brain with that, and then some of it's like, well, you just know too much.
Yeah, we know way too much.
Yes.
Um,
So do you find that when people have gone through this, so I do have definitely a background in grief, and that's a perspective that I have with humans, that they have a sort of experience of the self that they lost, the pre-experience self, and then this new paradigm that they get into and trying to come to grips with this new normal that they have.
Oh, there's no question about that. This is a traumatic experience for all people, even if they feel, on the once they've gone through it many times, that it's a positive experience. But
Right.
all of them in the beginning, it's traumatic, and so they come to a point where they then accept it. And then when it stops, it's almost like the Stockholm syndrome where, hey, how come this has stopped? Why aren't you coming back for me or not talking to me anymore?
Right.
That kind of process. But people's worldview definitely changes after these experiences. It's quite a dramatic change in how one perceives themselves, how they perceive the world. And in most cases, it's a positive thing in the long run.
Right.
But those initial stages are tough. It's very tough to go through.
I wonder how many
psychologically,
Yeah.
for sure. Yes.
I wonder how often like people dealing with different sorts of mental illness actually have experienced something that's along
That's
these lines.
driven the mental illness.
Right. That then they're being treated for it like it was a mental
Schizophrenia.
illness, but
Yes.
right.
Yes.
It's just like, I wonder if they're just
Mhm.
hearing voices from other
That's true.
places.
Just because you're schizophrenic doesn't mean you're not having an experience.
Right.
And so that becomes a very difficult road to take as far as how do you work with people like that. And I think the first thing that has to happen, God bless you.
Yes, sorry about that.
First thing you have to deal with is that aspect of it. And sometimes we do run into people that we recommend to them, have you been to a psychologist or a psychiatrist? And if not, maybe perhaps you should do that first and then come back to us. And if they're treated for that malady, then we can maybe move on and help them in other aspects of the experience. So yeah, it's tricky. And that's why we have mental health practitioners that are familiar with it and can really be able to reach out to these people and give them the kind of help that they're looking for.
Right. So if it's not mainstreamed at all, which our government and our society hasn't mainstreamed any of these concepts. So it doesn't get educated in the school. So social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists I imagine that's not within the curriculum of university to actually say this is a possibility. So this would be an avenue to go down. It's not listed in the DSM-5 or 6 or whatever number they're on. So that's the difficulty within the society of really being able to capture this in a healthy sort of way.
Natalie, your question is right on. I mean, that is exactly what we're in the process of doing right now, is to educate the mental health community, the medical community, about the fact that there is something going on. And, to give these people drugs to ameliorate the situation is not helpful, that there's something else that needs to be done. And so I'm also part of another group called the UAPMC, which is the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Medical Coalition, which charter is to get to the mental health and medical community to educate. And there's a number of other groups that are simultaneously starting to do things. There's another one called the Tyler Institute. I forget her name, Ann Tyler, excuse me. Anyway, and she's in the process of trying to do the same thing. And there's another one called IMHU, and imhu.org. That is starting to do that kind of thing as well, where they have a website and they're talking about how do you differentiate a psychosis from an abduction and things of that nature. And they have courses that they're starting to put out there. So we're trying to, all of us are trying to do that kind of educational process because people are starting now, because of the fact that shows like yours, okay, and thank you for doing what you do, both of you. It's very important that people understand that there's something besides getting up in the morning, having breakfast, going to work, coming home at night, having dinner, watching TV, going to bed, and start that whole process over again.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That would be so boring.
I forgot having a cocktail too.
Oh, that's right.
So anyway,
to deal with the thing that you don't want to deal with that you don't remember.
Right, exactly.
Everybody's had it.
so it's got to happen, and like I say, with shows like yours, you're educating the audience about that there are other things going on in this world that are pretty significant and dramatic, and we don't understand them, and we need to look at this more critically, not only from a medical standpoint or mental health standpoint, but from a scientific standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I think that your question was great. That we do need to educate, and there is a clause in the and I always forget this term that you just used, that mental health journal. Okay. Yeah, and there is a portion in there that talks about that.
Oh, that's
I don't know
good
if you're familiar with that.
Well, I haven't read it. It's really thick.
Yeah, yeah, right. But anyway, evidently there's about a paragraph in there that talks about this.
Okay.
And that somebody mentioned to me, and
Well, it'd be good if it's in there because one of the factors of that DSM manual is that's what they use for diagnosis, which then gets it into the umbrella of insurance, which that allows someone to get treatment under an insurance. So it's good if it's in there because then at least they would be able to have that and get that within their insurance coverage, which is important here in the United States.
There's a lot of people now starting to really look at this thing
Good.
And I think we're starting to come to a point of critical mass with all of this, and that there's going to be some significant movement forward to understand that, hey, these things are going on. We need to understand what they are and try to at least try to understand it, and then not relegate these people to taking drugs to forget about it, or it's just
Right.
it's a tragedy that kind of thing goes on.
It is. We see it all the time.
We
what
do.
we do.
But-
People are just getting drugged up for all the reasons and not
Mhm.
really like working on this, like the root of the cause. Through all of your experiences of working with individuals or hearing about them through the work that you do, is there one breed over another? And I don't know if that's the proper terminology, that are visiting us. You said more of the grays, but
Well,
do you
yeah,
know like what type and like what their
sure.
true intention is other than tracking us and studying us?
Well, based on the support group, which I monitor on a daily basis, the grays seem to be very ubiquitous. And I've always said that it seems like all the other races, whether you talk about the tall grays or the mantid type or the reptilian type or the Nordic type, they all seem to utilize the grays. It's almost like there's a universal store out there, like an iPhone store that sells grays, and they all go there. Okay, I'm gonna need 2 of those guys because I got to abduct somebody, and because I think that they seem to be reluctant to actually interface on a direct basis with people, because we tend to be pretty aggressive. I've
Killer monkeys.
I've had instances of people biting the grays, and one person supposedly almost ripped an arm off of one, and so I can see where they might be reluctant to interface directly with us, and that's why they utilize these grays. But yes, as I said, you have the praying mantis types that are common. You have the reptilians, which are very common, the Nordics, the tall whites, and that seems to be a pretty common group that seems to come up. And of course, there's variations on each of them. They may look a little bit differently, but they're still a reptilian, and they may be a mantis type, but then they have a different structure. But again, mostly like a mantis type of a creature.
Interesting.
Is there anything out there that says whether or not like our environment would be toxic to some, where they don't come here, or they may come like
yeah, well, the reptilians supposedly are underground here already.
Right.
So I guess it's not toxic for them. And it seems like the grays, when they come through, don't seem to have any issues. Coming through walls and everything else, it's like it's almost a dimensionality thing that's going on, so that they don't actually interact with our atmosphere. I don't know about the mantis. Most of those have only been involved with board craft, and same goes for the Nordics. Only seem to be, like in Travis Walton's thing, they talked about that being on board a craft. But yeah, I would imagine that there's got to be some issues with being able to breathe our particular atmosphere, and if we don't take care of business here shortly, we won't be able to breathe our atmosphere.
Very true. Very true. And they're always warning us too. Like we're not taking care of our planet.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
you said earlier, there's main messages that are coming through. We're not loving each other. We're not loving our planet. We're not taking care of anything.
That's
We're
a very
damaging everything.
That's a very common thread that people come back with after these experiences, which is great. That's a really positive thing, because, as I mentioned earlier, you have two camps. One camp believes that all these aliens are good, and then another camp that believes they're all bad. And so what is the agenda? What is the agenda? Because when you start talking about the hybrid program, that really throws a monkey wrench into the whole situation. Like, what is the agenda of hybridizing? Is it simply to take care of their own civilization that's dying? Which
That's
is
a good question.
and then the other question is, what a great way to take over. You don't have to break out your ray guns or anything like that. You just eventually hybridize everybody, and we are us.
Or maybe they are trying to really like help us save our planet and somewhat of our species, right?
Yeah, that could be.
Oh, I think there's a lot of possibilities as far as the agenda is concerned. Whether it's positive or negative or something in between. I think. And again, it depends on the group that you're dealing with, because I mean, there's talk about the fact that there's been, significant battles between the various groups. One group is saying, well, we should wipe the alien or the humans off the face of the earth, and then other groups that are fighting them to say, no, you can't do that. And it's where's the proof? It's a very difficult. You have a lot of different commonalities, but I like the fact that most of the abductees that come back are saying the same thing, and that is that we need to be better stewards of the planet and be better to one another.
Absolutely. And I hope that message gets taken seriously the more and more times that it is shared. And it takes a lot of courage for someone to step up and share these experiences, and for you to have the platform that you do and those on your team. Kudos to you guys. Thank you for showing up and being that support and assisting them in that way. Before we wrap up tonight, Les, I want to make sure everyone knows all about how to find the Opus website and to support your organization. And also, you are an author of a book. I want to make sure that they have the ability to get their hands on that.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, the unknown other, the existential proposition of alien contact, basically is an overview of the phenomena, together with some of the governmental. Matter of fact, I have the UAP report that the government came out with 2021, and it talks about the Nimitz experience, but I talk about implants, I talk about hybrids, I talk about so many things that these people are dealing with, whether it's health issues, the various things that people talk about from a physical, from a psychological standpoint. And there's 25 stories in there from experiencers, their very own experiences that they talk about, which are, some of them are absolutely, well, most of them, I should say, are fascinating.
I'm sure. That's one I'm going to have to grab.
All right, please do. By the way, anybody that buys that book, all the proceeds go directly to Opus. I don't get a thing for it. That's my donation to the cause.
Oh,
wonderful. That's wonderful, Les. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for taking the time to spend with us tonight and share with us about what you're up to and about your organization and your works. It's needed, and we support you in this mission.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate being with you tonight. And I thank you for what you guys do too. It's so important, and so I really had a great time tonight speaking with you, and look forward to the possibility of doing it again sometime.
Oh, well, if you want to come back, we'll add you to the list.
Okay.
It's always nice to dive a little bit deeper than the first time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, then we'll add you, Les. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you.
And to all of you, our wanderers, what another amazing show. I love learning about all this good stuff.
I know. it's like so exciting. I just pinch myself like I get to do this.
And we get to support one another in this human experience. And that is what it's all about, friends. So until next week, take care of yourself and take care of each other. And we'll see you all next time. Good night.
Have a good one.